What's up, everybody? Back again, Warp Charge Gaming. I'm George, and I'm here with James. James, you haven't been able to see me yet, dude, but we're in the same shirt.
No way.
Yeah, I got the same shirt on, dude. It's a good one. Blood for the Blood God. James and I like corn. I'm showing my shirt right now. You can't tell, James, but I'm like puffing it out.
I can't tell.
I'm showing it and stuff. We got the same shirt. James designed these shirts. He's pretty cool. James designs things. He's an artiste, in case you guys didn't know. I play games. James plays games when he can. Uh-oh, James, you frozen? You got this like stoned look on your face and you're frozen there. Oh no. Oh, there you're back. You go. Well, you're probably stoned, but it's also a little freaky frozen style.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Do you got me back?
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Welcome back. Good to see you.
Yeah, you do have the same shirt on. That is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was out doing yard work in this shirt, you know, like
yeah.
For the blood god.
We didn't plan that, guys. I played a game of real 40K today, James, in this shirt.
Dude, wow, that's super cool.
I hadn't played a real game of 40K since February. Yeah, I can remember because that's when we had our Warp Charge Gaming major, partnered with Coastal Wargaming.
Wow, so I actually had you beat on like...
Yeah, in real life 40K, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only real dice I had thrown was for some Infinity with my buddy Brad. You know, keeping it real limited on the folks I've been engaging with, of course, trying to be safe and all that. And
dude, you know this might sound crazy to a lot of people, but I was doing yard work because I'm having a party for like 30-something people this weekend.
Really? Are you celebrating like some restraints being taken off or what? No,
the little one turned 6. And
okay.
Like, we don't have to do a parade anymore, and there's no restrictions otherwise. So we're partying.
I'm partying, okay. All right, 6-year-old hang time, dude. I'm down.
Oh yeah.
Like now, when you say you're having a party of like 30 people, is this 30 little people or is this like the parents?
No, it's like 12 little people.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's a lot of people that aren't little people that are having probably more fun than little people. But can we have more fun than little people? Probably not. They just
I don't think we're gonna have more fun than little people.
That's fair.
Because like we got capes and masks, so they can all dress up as superheroes.
Oh damn, that is tight, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
that's like another level of fun that you can't really compete with for sure.
Yeah.
Some people can. You know, we take fun seriously, so. You gotta try, the little kid has to try hard still. Like, you're not gonna easily outpace me in having fun, I'm just saying.
Dude, I don't know, man. Birthday, you can pretty much outpace any adult on having fun.
That's fair. I believe it. I don't hang around kids too much, but I'm usually surprised.
Well, it's magic, bro. It's like kid magic.
Yeah, kid magic.
You're tapping into something primal.
As soon as I heard that, I thought of well, David Bowie, like, dance, magic dance, magic dance. Yeah, Labyrinth, right? You know, the power of the babe, power of the voodoo, you do.
All I know is there was like a thing that rode a dog and thought it was a knight.
Dude, that shit's, like, puppets kind of freak me out. And there's some freaky ones in the Labyrinth. And for those that might be tuning in for the first time, we do talk about tabletop wargaming on this show pretty often. It's pretty much what we do.
But right now,
yeah,
is the craziest time to talk about like tabletop wargaming.
Yeah,
because Games Workshop's announced that they're having a new edition, and I know we've talked about this previously.
Yeah,
but it just gets wilder because they just keep leaking out how it's different.
Yep. We know more stuff, but yet we still have so many more questions.
So many more questions.
Yeah. Let's talk about that first, James. Let's talk about the questions we still. Okay, I'll do a quick rundown of what we know because I don't know if you've heard some of the newest things, but I'll bring.
Well, one I thought was pretty cool is if you're split shotting because you have a model or unit that has multiple different weapons, you can't shoot the other weapons until the model that you're shooting at is dead.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Or unit you're shooting at is dead.
Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to that one. And sometimes you'll like on the surface you see one thing, but when you think about it deeper, you can see some of the other mechanics.
Like so that's pretty wild when you're like setting up like screens and stuff. Now they're not going to necessarily put their las cannon and let's say all their Tesla shots, or not Tesla, but
right.
shots
Right.
fall into like different targets when like they have to get rid of what's in front of them.
But like also this is speaking to the idea that perhaps we can't say for sure because we haven't seen it all written out, but the that when you shoot, like let's say you do have multiple guns, that you're going to go through each gun one at a time, and if you perhaps don't have to declare them. Oh no, we've had it verified per Chris said on a online stream that they verified you still have to declare all your weapons at once, and I suppose if you just can't split fire. I don't understand all the way yet what you're describing, because I think if you have to declare all your weapons.
Yeah, I think like if you didn't kill the other target, like you don't get to shoot the other weapon, or you do get to shoot it at the previous target.
Oh, weird. So you can choose to split your shit, but if you don't kill the first target,
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's more questions.
Yeah, more questions. Yeah, like
but,
one of the questions that's beating at my mind, dude, is are they going to do anything with the character rule?
Ooh, that is a good question.
I really want to know about that. There were some other ones I was curious about, but oh yeah, the rule of three. Is that going to be a thing still?
Yeah, I'm still curious about how tanks are going to be in combat.
Yeah, we still don't.
Because we now learned what blast weapons do.
Yeah.
Because I heard talking about how it might be like add 3 or add 6 to the D6, but now if it's 5 or more models, up
or
to
six or more. Yep.
6 or more.
Yep.
Up to 10, you're getting minimum 3 up to your D6. And then for something that's over 10, like 11 or so, you're now getting maximum shots.
Yeah, I think I just pulled it up here. Here we go. Blast weapons. Yep.
So what I thought was really crazy is just grenades. Like they said grenades.
Yeah, exactly, and like it actually puts a lot more value on what was it? And speaking of which, Death Guard. Like, didn't they have the Death Guard particularly had a strat to fire all your grenades?
All your grenades, and the thing is, if all of them are being maximum 6, and then you have the other dude who makes mortals happen.
You're putting out a buttload of damage, yeah. And that's the thing. That's what I guess as an overall impression. I think so far that they're making 9th edition be even more brutal. I think they have a big intention on faster games. Not necessarily smaller as far as like, because things are gonna go up in price, we know. And obviously the board is getting smaller, which is a huge favor for the combat army. We'd like to think we're here, somebody today mentioned like, I don't know, I'm kind of worried about combat. I keep hearing all this good stuff for other elements of the game, but we just got the new terrain rules with how obscured pieces of terrain work.
Oh, dude, I didn't know this, so please tell me.
So we just got a little bit of terrain feature here, and I'm gonna try to pull it up as I describe it to you because there's a lot that they don't tell us still. But basically,
ooh, sexy.
Here we go.
I want to see some sexy too.
Yeah, so basically that there's they're going to categorize terrain. You're going to discuss the terrain before the game begins, and a terrain piece can have multiple traits to what describes what it kind of rules it has. There's like a number of kind of universal special rules that you apply to a given piece of terrain. And so one of them is a feature of a terrain piece could be light cover, heavy cover. And you could decide this piece of terrain has both light and heavy cover. And what that is light cover is something we're all used to. And that's that area terrain that when you're on it, you're gonna get a saving throw of +1. +1 save, basically. But additionally, heavy cover is that you'll get +1 saving throw in combat. So basically that they're, if cover is like so dense that you would even get a cover save in combat, then it would be considered heavy cover.
Dude, a cover save in combat?
Yeah,
what?
that's a Sigmar mechanic too.
What?
But here's where
fucking mind.
Here's where it gets weirder though, is that then we're talking about, so they've came up with their own rule that basically applies the ITC rule. So I'm bringing it up on the screen now. It's called obscuring. And this is to kind of handle the bottom floor always blocks line of sight, that kind of thing. It's like that, but not like that. So it's kind of cool. So basically, if the terrain feature is at least 5 inches in height, then models cannot see through it or over it. So even if you're like a Flyrant, or like a Bloodthirster, anything with less than 18 wounds. So they gave 3 caveats. If you have 18 or more wounds, if you're an aircraft, or you're or you're a Titan, which 18 or more wounds. So anything that's so big that it has 18 plus wounds, or it's a flyer, it can't hide behind buildings anymore, period. Unless it unless it truly blocks line of sight. Excuse me, James. I think that models that are on or within this terrain feature can be seen and targeted normally. Aircraft models can be targeted even if this terrain feature is between them. Yes. Okay. So bottom line, you can still hide a Titan or a plane if it couldn't be seen straight up. But now they're putting this abstract thing in there called obscuring, and if it's 5 inches or more, then even if you could see a model over top of that piece, you now couldn't see it unless they're actually in that piece of terrain, right? So let's say that you're just trying to target somebody and they're not in the terrain, there's just terrain in between you. If you can't get a clean line of sight to somebody without terrain being in the way, then you just straight up can't see them when it has the obscuring feature. So that's going to be things like ruins and whatnot. Once you get into the terrain, then it's true line of sight. You see them or you don't see them is what we can expect. It doesn't flat out tell us that. The idea is more or less whenever you're looking through some buildings and shit, you can see this sliver of a model through all these buildings. Now that sliver isn't going to matter. If there's buildings and terrain in between you and the model, they totally block you now, and they just straight up can't see you. There's no question marks on whether they're seen or not. So it's not really just obscuring, it's like straight up, do you see or not, line of sight blocking. But if your models are in the terrain, they can still be targeted and target out of it as normal. You're a little frozen, James. You still with me out there? I don't know. Oh, you kind of look like you reset there. Some technical difficulties for me there a little bit, probably connection. You seem okay though, James. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you now. But you're cutting in and out. My connection going.
Yeah, I got your message. Internet dropped out. Well, I hope you caught a little bit of that terrain. Did you catch that or not? Not so much.
I heard basically the obscurity aspect and kind of like how ITC is first floor blocking. But what I was gathering is it could be even like more kind of depth, because it could be terrain in like the middle of the field blocking you.
Yeah, it's literally that if you draw a line of sight through the terrain and it's considered obscuring.
Yeah, you're breaking up too bad, man.
Damn, I wonder why.
Internet sucks, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, dang. Okay. It's all right. I'm going to copy and paste it over to you just so you can read it on your phone so you can have some reference there. All right, cool. All right, well, it's an interesting thing. What we don't know, to talk out loud to our audience at home, is that, like, for instance, there's other features of terrain, and it can be scalable, breachable, and defensible, for instance. And I was talking to some bros at Battlegrounds today, and we were saying maybe defensible is, that it gets modifications for when somebody charges you. So maybe terrain will have better overwatch or something if it has the defensible characteristic. That's a nerve-wracking thought. There's also this exposed position, and that makes me wonder about, they reference it to things like armored containers, and I'm thinking things like Aegis defense walls. Maybe there's a type of exposed position terrain trait that means that if you're within, say 1 inch of this like standing wall where it doesn't have area terrain you can stand on, it can still provide that +1 cover save. So I'm imagining this light cover, this exposed position, and this heavy cover is all related to +1 save, while the scalable feature, probably related to climbing, breachable, related to being able to bust through the walls, and defensible, I would say related to some sort of charge modification. So these are things we're curious about and don't necessarily have the details on yet, but they've alluded to it in the goodness here. Cool. Keeping it going as James tries to reconnect, it looks like. Are y'all out there with, I need to actually connect and go to conversate with y'all. There we go. Let's hit this button. Trying to see the chat so I can talk with y'all. Y'all out there hanging out with me? Destinations. Yeah? Alright. on the struggle bus here. There we go. I see there's some folks out there. Okay, cool. Yeah, so 9th edition, there's lots of cool stuff. There's lots of questions. What the hell is going on with the character rules still? Is the rule of 3 in play? Do we have multiple detachments? Can we take more than 3 detachments down as long as we got CP to pay for it? I'm curious. Yeah, I'm wondering if my feed's super glitchy. You guys getting a nice clean stream out there, or is things being apeshit? Give me a comment. I'm hearing both of you clear. All right, thank you, Kevin. I just saw your comment. For some reason, I'm struggling to bring up comments. All right, word. Okay, so get my thoughts on track. So one thing I gotta mention is that I was on a great win streak. Both of you are good. Thanks, Matt. I was on this great win streak where I was like wrecking. And if you watch a lot of the, the bat reps I've been doing on Tabletop Simulator, it's been looking real good. But then all of a sudden lately, everything's gone bad and I've started losing a whole bunch in a row. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. It's awesome because all of my homies that I've been somehow doing awesome against, they just put me in my place as they all wrecked me in a row. I fought Heretic Hornet from Finland, Chris, who's usually making the show, just can't make it tonight, and Connor, and even today my buddy Daniel and Mike, of course, Van Dusky. Always he and I fighting on the channel and having a good time. He took me down with Necrons. I lost to Orcs today, today I did get to fight against the new Gazgul. Which was pretty badass. The one that can only be max wounded of 4 per phase. I did the thing where I bring like pure guns, no guns, pure close combat. And so I had nothing to deal damage outside. Yeah, Mike's dice did not betray him. It was crazy, dude. It's a good bat rep. I was playing Space Wolves. Like, my Space Wolves have been on a tear, huge win streak. And they just got put down over and over again and made me like go back to the drawing board a little bit of my thoughts. I had some epically bad rolls too, I will say, but I also think my homies got to start playing a little bit better too. That maybe I'll take a little bit of self-pride as I trained them on how the Space Wolf tricks work, or at least how I run them, and they got keen to those tricks and started to put down the hurt pretty hard there. So I need some bounce back for sure. Against some of the new lists that my buddies are bringing. They're definitely bringing a lot more heat on the firepower there. And they're knowing who to kill. I'm realizing that the Wolf Priest with a +2 to charge mechanic is such a foundation of like making everything work that if they snipe that guy out and you start failing charges, the Space Wolves go down. If you go so heavily in combat investment as I do, you need to make sure they are delivered into combat, and if they're not, then your list really just falls apart as it doesn't get the trade-off of kills that it needs to get in combat to match the kills that they're going to get for sure in shooting, because you're going to be taking those hits on the way. One of the reasons I'm excited for 9th is that I have noticed that these, ever since we learned about the 9th edition releases, or the teases, I've experienced some of these mechanics that we're gonna get to have that's like, oh, this is gonna be nice. And you don't even realize that they are kind of feel bad until you think about not having to do it that way. Like for instance, now only infantry are gonna suffer -1 to hit from moving with heavy weapons. And I'm always, if I do shoot a weapon, it's typically a heavy one that I got on a big platform. Like I love dreadnoughts for Space Wolves. I love bringing dreadnoughts. I have 7 of them that are built and painted, and when you take las cannons, when you take the Relic Leviathan Dread, who's a 2-up ballistic skill, but every time he takes even a 1-inch step somewhere, he's now a 3-up to hit because he's -1 for shooting these double storm cannon arrays. You're taking a dreadnought with 2 big guns for arms, and the guy is -1 to hit for just walking in any direction, and the thing moves 8 inches like it hauls ass. But no, -1 to hit. Now that won't happen anymore. And in several of the games that I was playing against Mike and against Connor, they take steps back. Even Chris, the Space Wolves are very much like push you in a corner. And I've noticed that as my buddies get more and more used to playing them, they put all their essential stuff farther and farther back on the line and put bigger and bigger screens in front of them. And they've calculated more and more what's that right amount of screens to have to stop the hits. And that's where the fly keyword comes in, and Space Wolves don't have a ton of it. So I mean, I need to be able to chew through those ranks and the screens and hit from lots of angles. And if I get too tar pitted up, the army can fall apart. You know, now we got the things can shoot in combats coming up on tanks and monstrous creatures. That's a little scary. We got at the same time we got a new fallback stratagem where, you know, for 1 CP, it's going to be a universal strat that everybody has. If somebody falls back from you, you can pop it. And for every model that you have within engagement range, probably within an inch of a model within an inch kind of thing, you can, on a roll of dice and on a 6-up, cause a mortal wound if something flees. So that's going to incentivize a little bit of horde play, because, you know, then the more bodies that you have that they're falling back from, the more opportunities you get to get mortal wounds. So that's a boon in the horde favor. But then now we have the new blast rules. So it seems like every time we're getting like a yay moment for one thing, we're also getting like a, oh, well, there's that. So we don't necessarily know how all of it's going to operate, or how it's going to balance out per se. But, you know, the blast rules do get crazy with an auto damage. Usually blast weapons are like D6 shots, right? Anytime you have a D6 shot blast weapon, if you're hitting a unit that's 6 to 10, I believe, then it's an automatic 3. You roll the dice for D6 shots, and if you roll anything less than a 3, it defaults to a 3. Otherwise, you can roll higher even. When you're shooting a bigger squad that's 11 plus models, then it's a automatic D6, and you don't have to roll. It's just straight up, you're doing flat 6 shots, which even affects grenades, as James was saying. So for things like the Death Guard that also are getting their teas about their new Psychic Awakening, pretty exciting. They're going to be able to do some nasty things. We got the demons coming. You know, we got all the exalted traits coming. I was hearing the Lord of Change is going to be a favorite. There's a -1 damage ability that he can take. I think it's a warlord trait for -1 damage, and then you take the impossible robe that takes you up to a 3-up invuln, and then you take an exalted trait on top of that, like Spell Eater, which, you know, because a stratagem you spend pre-game is something that's not built into the list, and you're going to get to choose what's going to be the most functional for you in any given game. So the Lord of Change looks like the breadwinner so far, as -1 damage, +1 invuln, and an exalted trait of your choice. Particularly the Spell Eater trait being so good, where if you can deny a power, that enemy loses that power for the entire rest of the game. So you could take away Eldar's fundamental Doom, Jinx, move twice powers, you name it. Take their smites away, Death Hex, Warp Time. So many good powers that removing them is a clutch to jump from the boys, which I felt handily today. Today I brought we had a great game, man. It was pretty much the box set, my buddy Daniel and I, where it's, you know, in the new Space Wolf box for the Saga of the Beast, it's the new Ragnar model with a new Ghazghkull model. And we both did a 2,000 point army that I had Ragnar, he had Ghazghkull. We both chose the Born for Greatness secondary on the ITC mission there, and went at it. And him going first with a 30-man to jump, making the charge into my big horde of Space Wolves there, got the job done. I mean, the volume of attacks, we had a spearheaded deployment zone, so it was an 18-inch gap, and I was pretty much just on the line, like, all right, let's just see what happens. And that gave him enough ability to easily be able to Congo line back to Ghazghkull and his Wog Banner, getting these, which he ended up having 6 attacks per boy with +1 to hit, re-rolling once. So, you know, he ended up with 27 guys getting to fight after he Congo lined back, you know, sacrificing 3 of them. One of them having a claw, of course. So 26 guys with 6 attacks a pop. 27 guys, one of them being with the claw. It was nasty. He was able to pull down about 5 Wolfen and a unit of Thunderwolf Cav. So, you know, he went through a lot of invulns basically, and feel no pains and toughness 5s, and it was solid. That's usually the best trick of the trade, is the volume of fire, and it got the job done. I was able to eliminate the couple of the 60 blob of orcs, but the other part of his list was heavy orc shooting, where he had the 3 shock attack gun mech boys, and then he had the shock attack guns, or like maybe Dan's out there. It's the thing that's like a squadron. It has the good Grot gunners. mech guns. I think it's just mech guns, and it has the big shock weapon on it that's random, and you have to roll like the amount of wounds that wounds that the model is, or toughness. Yeah, it's wounds. I don't know. It's a bunch of random shit that does a bunch of ridiculous damage in high AP, and it can either whiff like stupid bad, where you're like, okay, that was worthless, or it'll just rip something off the board where you're like, that's not even fair. And it just got the better of me. Couldn't make it. It was a great game, and we had a nice fight up until turn 3. Smash-a-guns. There you go. Yep. I couldn't deal with the smash-a-guns and the shock attack gun mech characters. And the 15 Ludas that he was using a new, and this is all new stuff for me. I was going against Gazgul. Again, I didn't have any way to do wounds outside of the fight phase. So that's 3 turns he was going to rock around. The shock attack guns are dope. Yeah, they were nasty. Well, there's a new Luda strat too, where you do it pre-game, where you upgrade the spanner inside the Luda squad, and it allows you. The Ludas are nasty for those that don't know. They have a strength 7, like -2, maybe -1, but D3 damage weapon, and it's on these orc platforms. Yeah, totally. And he takes these. You can jump these guys around. But you can do, if you take Bad Moon Ludas, right, you can give them shoot twice. They reroll 1s in shooting. And you do more Daka stratagem on them so that they have shots exploding on 5s and 6s. Usually they get exploding attacks on 6s for more Daka. Now it's more Daka. And then you can shoot them again for a second time. And still get the effect of the more Daka on the second round of shooting. And that gets gnarly. Yeah, he was freaking. He was lighting me up with that. He was lighting me up with these Ludas there with their. The stratagem is pregame is that instead of just rolling 1d3 for the amount of shots that they get, you get to roll 2d3 and pick the highest. And that was clutch on multiple rolls that he did with that thing. So now every time he's rolling to see how many attacks that Luda squad gets, it's usually 1 dice roll to determine the 15 guys there, and you're either getting 15 shots, 30 shots, or 45 shots, and having that roll 2 dice, pick the highest strat was huge on him getting the max amount of shots that he could each round and putting down the most pain that he could. It was something that I would kill for on an Obliterator squad, man. If I could roll 2 dice and pick the highest on some of those like the damage roll particularly, even if it was just like on one of the Obliterator's random profiles, you can roll 2 and pick the highest. I would do damage like every time. Everybody would, but you know what I'm saying? Come on now. It was good. But man, not only did he have those fucking 6 attacks per boy with the 2s rerolling 1s, but they also were the Goffs. So they had basically the Daka rule in combat, and 6s to hit also exploded into more hits. So with 2s to hit, rerolling 1s, he was coming out with more hits than he even had attacks. Like every fight, it was ridiculous, man. I actually stood up to that pretty well, all things considered, but just like this super cheap boy squad was doing work. I was able to hit the other boy squad before it was able to put out its max amount of attacks, and I just, not being able to fight Gazgul in any reasonable way. Like, I pretty much had to choose not to engage him, even though I, had the opening. He was able to just put Gazgul on the line and just be like, whatever. I could have fought Gazgul if I wanted to, and any normal circumstance would have whooped his ass. But the fact that I can only max 4 damage, I'm just like, what's the point? I can run at you with a whole squad of Wolfen with Thunderhammer, 10 of them. And it's just like, whatever, once 4 damage is through, you're done. Get wrecked after that. So even Wolfen, I love using Wolfen to say fight Mortarion. He's great. They fight when they die, and they will win that fight. And I will trade a 5 Wolfen, pretty much 200 points for Mortarion every time. And the cool thing is I can use them as a screen, and even when Mortarion kills them, in combat is the way you got to set it up. Of course, is that you're still gonna kill them when you die. So it's fine. But you don't get to do that versus Gazgul. You can't just send your Wolfen who have that role of going to fight the big Primarch-like model and come out on top, because they only take 4 wounds max. And that was eye-opener. And we talked about how when you think about the meta, that is something that it's one of those questions you have to be able to ask yourself. When opponents meet at the table, that's usually what they're doing is their list ask a question. It's like, all right, can you deal with all toughness 8 with 3 up armor saves, 5 up invulns? I'm playing knights. All right, can you do you have enough of a screen to block a bunch of orcs running into your face to jump and blah, you know, there's always a question to be asked of my list does this, and is your list capable of defending against that? And if it is capable of defending against that, you still have to be wise enough to do the right actions. But that's one of those questions that my list wasn't prepared to answer, and that's like, how do I deal with Ghazghkull, and how do I deal with flyers? You know, I love taking all close combat space wolves, particularly Thunderwolf Cav and Wolfen, and I typically don't leave much room for anything else as far as guns or things that fly or whatever. So if I go against flyer spam, or I go against custody bikes that can jump up in a second story building and shoot down and just wait for their time to strike, whatever. There's like, those are mechanics I can't deal with. People have enough of a horde that I can't shoot through it, and that means I can't shoot the guys behind the screen. That's bad too. You got to ask yourself these questions and have the tools in your list to be able to handle it, or be ready to play a hammer and you know, rock paper scissors style matchup. You know, it's totally. I've gone to many tournaments with a very swingy, they call it gatekeeper list. It's just like, all right, you know, I don't care if it can't beat any of this shit, but it can definitely beat this stuff. And personally, I usually like to tailor lists that I go to attorneys with that fight the meta. Like when Knights were really big, I love fighting big shit anyways. Like I love taking Thunder Hammers and whatnot. But when Knights were a big deal, when Marines first hit the scene and were especially big, Iron Hands, you know, all that. I would like to try to bring stuff that kills those things specifically. And I always like applaud and appreciate lists that are not like what everyone else brings, or, you know, are obscure. Necron's always got a little high five for just playing their fucking faction. Xenos in general, just not seeing everybody with Ultramarines, and yeah, Ultramarine Gilliman. There's been many a times I've disliked the Imperium in my Warhammer days. I think a lot of us could agree, but I think a lot of you are Imperium lovers out there too. But I'm a Dirty Tau player, so just, you know, at least at one point, so you can always hold that over my head. All right, well, it looks like James bailed. Chris isn't here. There's about 4 of you out there watching. That's pretty cool. I like seeing Kevin and Andrew. Appreciate y'all. Saw some other homies, Matt Hall. You guys rule. But I don't have a lot to talk about without my homies. We got 9th edition. I've been playing games and losing. I need to quit losing. I'm gonna play some Chaos here soon. I've been wanting to show people Battlescribe to Tabletop Simulator. I think it's pretty cool. I can show it real quick as something to do, unless you guys had any particular questions you want me to answer. If we get too bored, I'll sign off though. But I can show you the old. What time? What we got? 5 people watching now? Oh shit. All right, let me show you a little Tabletop Simulator TTS until we find a better subject. I'm going to show you that, yeah. So you know what's really cool? Being able to have all your stats. How about the Fabius bike stuff? I didn't check it out. Yeah, I didn't check it out. Didn't care enough. See, you know, for a guy that like has a Warhammer channel and shit, I usually only pay attention to the stuff that I play or that my friends play. So and when I only learn about when I'm actually playing against them. Now's your chance to talk about Infinity, right, Mike? No shit. The Sadness of Nova, yeah. Forgot about that. It was totally sad. There's too much sadness. I don't want to talk about that. Ugh, that one hurt my heart, Matt. We were gonna have fun. You know, one thing that was going to be dope about this year at Nova, even though I wasn't going to participate, is they still had some new things that I was really excited about. They had fucking 5-man teams for 40K, which was a Nova first. They had 5-man, it was 4 or 5-man teams for Kill Team, which was really exciting. It's something I was really wanting them to do from the year prior. It was something I was excited about. I fell in love with Infinity since the year prior and had signed up for all the Infinity events at Nova Open. So the schedule was Thursday, Mike, me, 4-man teams for Kill Team. Yeah, me and Mike and Connor were for sure going to be in the 5-man team, hopefully poaching, you know, somebody like James and Chris to get into there. But we had the 5-man team for 40K on Thursday, Friday was me and Mike were gonna play the Infinity Tournament, which was just a Friday full, like, major Infinity Tournament. But then Saturday and Sunday was a 2-day major Infinity Tournament that was separate from the Friday one that I was going to jump into, and I think Mike was going to go do some narrative play and some things of that nature. Hell, I think I was even signed up for a narrative Infinity event just in case if I wanted to. But I was maxed out and really looking forward to getting to hang out and play Infinity at a major event. I've only gone to the Baltimore Brawl so far, and that was a great experience. But to be at the con experience and the Nova experience, man, you know, God, I've only gone to Adepticon twice as the other location, and I have a great time hanging out with James, particularly, and it's part of the motivation to go. And he always houses us up and is a very gracious host, very hospitable. But staying at the hotel at these conventions is a whole nother ball game of having fun in my mind, particularly partying. You know, I just like to be able to drink some booze and walk around drunk, and I don't ever drink, so like it's fun for me. It's like the once a year time I'm like, woo, I'm gonna get wild and just fucking be belligerent and hang out with random strangers and, you know, do whatever. Yeah, not this time, sadly. The rooftop bar, fucking live music, all, you know, all that charity goodness. It feels good. You know, they got a good family environment, like atmosphere, not necessarily like the kiddos, but more like the camaraderie at Nova. And that's something we don't get this year. Going to Nova inspired me to start Warp Charge. You know, it's like, had that feeling of just being like, I really care about this stuff and love it a lot passionately. And yeah, so unfortunately not happening, guys, and it's Six Sad World. Not really a surprise though. I mean, everything else canceled. I can't wait till it's not what's going on. Can't wait till we can throw more events at Battlegrounds, and that'll happen. It's gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch of them to get my rocks off, kind of thing. All right, guys, so if you're into Tabletop Simulator, right, and you should be if you're not hanging out at game stores. The word is that you got this bag called the Battlescribe Army Builder, and it's really impressive that somebody went through the effort to code this for us, and we gotta appreciate it. So you go to this site. I'm about to show it to you. Here we go. Wow. You go to Battlescribe to TTS.net. Battlescribe to TTS.net, and when you go there, you send you upload your army file. So like I've built a list with Battlescribe, and then I've sent that list as a Battlescribe roster to my email, and then I can take that file and like here's 3 Lord Disco. Yeah, let's do this one. Open. All right, and then now that I've put in this roster, I can copy this code it's given me, and then I can paste that code into here, hit submit, and it spits out my army. And now it wants me to match up models to the data sheets that are inside of Battlescribe, and it's going to write all the details of that army into the models. So let's say that this is going to be the list I'm making right now, but this is going to be the process I did. So let's say I grab one of each model that's going to be what I need here. I need a Master Possessions, need a Blood Master, cool. All right, so I go to wherever I have my models, and then I begin to assign them. So I click it, it says Khorne Lord of Skulls. That's what the Khorne Lord of Skulls looks like. Master Possessions, that's the Master of Possessions. Lord Discordant, that's a Lord Discordant. Warpsmith, that's a Warpsmith. Another Lord Discordant, cool, that's him. Blood Master, that's him, cool. So I've shown this Battlescribe to TTS what the models are supposed to be. Now I'm gonna say create army, and it's gonna write all the details of what's in my list into the models and spit out my army for me. So it takes a second. I'm showing, but hopefully you remember to show this to people. You also, like if you game with people and they don't do this, it's kind of annoying because it saves you having to ask a bunch of questions. Now your opponents can hover their mouse over your models, and it'll tell them all the details of what's in your list right from Battlescribe. It's pretty cool. And you can update that shit without having to manually do it. So it's still spitting it out. Give me a second, I'll show you what's up. Here it comes. Here it comes. Rocking and rolling the solo show. Any second now, Battlescribe to TTS. We're trying to show you off right now. All right, it's writing stuff. It's writing stuff. There we go. Wonderful. Army's been created. So check it out. So I'm just gonna get rid of this, these example pieces here because they don't matter. Cool. So here's what it gave me. And now I can just take that, get rid of it. There is my army. It's, you know, 3 Lord Discos, which I might have accidentally just deleted one. But when we hover our mouse over it, you can see that it tells the weapon skill, the ballistic skill, the toughness, the wounds, what weapons I modeled it with. Hades Gatling gun, you know, the cleaver, the Icar cannon. It says the abilities that are on the guy. You know, same with the master possessions, all the details, all color coded, nicely organized, all the same. It automatically puts the 12-12 in their name, so you can easily start to reduce wounds as you take them. So it's just this nice little thing that's another step to building your army in TTS, but it gives you all the details so that when usually you would go to Battlescribe to double check, what am I to hit? How many wounds do I have? What toughness am I? You can just hover your mouse over your shit and you got the exact same information right inside the app, and you never have to actually leave Tabletop Simulator. Once you've made your, oh, there's my other disco. Once you've actually made your army from Battlescribe like this, then all you do is you save it. And I usually put it in like a nice formation for a nice drag and drop ability. Something like that. You highlight everything. Let's not take the bag with us here. Highlight everything, right click, hit save. Once you save that bad boy, you can then drag and drop it in, just like I have right here. Oh God, too many windows. Hiya. There we go. And then, oh, I grabbed the totally wrong thing. Not Warcry. Yeah, you can just drag it right in, folks. And I'm just entertaining myself as I do the solo show. Bam. And there you have it. And just like those guys were Battlescribe to TTS, so were these. And now I can drag and drop armies with Battlescribe rules inside. I suggest people do it. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty great. But that's where all the games have been happening, folks. Inside of old Tabletop Simulator here. Oh, I see I lost my camera. That's unfortunate. It's a terrible show. Guys, I think I'm running out of steam here on my thought process. It's been a good time hanging out, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. But I miss my homies. They couldn't join me today. I see what's up with my camera. Yeah, but I'm going to roll out. It's been a good time. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you next week. And, tune in for more games as always. Keep taking fun seriously. Catch you next time.